Yay! That is what I have to say. I am sitting down with one of the most inspiring women in my life. Honestly, I met Rosa a couple of months ago at a Mind Valley Future Human situation. We were both, I mean, in extreme, busyness and stuff. So we didn't have the opportunity to connect deep there. But since then, we've been, going into containers together, and it's been nothing short but beautiful. And something that is so admirable about you is, well, your strength, first of all, your natural, resilience, but also just your natural way of flowing through life and all of the challenges that comes up. And it's true. You're just, you do everything with a smile. And that is just, I feel like you're so incredibly rooted in gratitude. I think that is what kind of keeps you going. So yeah, it's just amazing to hear from you every time I hear from you. And we're going to go deep today into your journey and what has led you to become this incredibly inspiring woman. But everything from the challenges you've faced and what you're trying to build, the path to impact that you are you're impacting all of us all the time. But there is a legacy in the making, and definitely professionally. You come from a background of business strategy, corporately, but you chose to go a different path down the hard path of startup. And she is a tech founder, guys. That is a big deal, okay? So I want to just jump in and first to say, welcome, Rosa.
Oh God, thank you so much for having me here, Dina. And it's an honor to have a sister who, we're just mirrors of each other, and so beautiful to see how in such a short time you yourself have made such an impact in Dubai with your matcha raves, and and you're just so vibrant and authentic. And I feel this is what the world needs more of. And what you see in me is just a reflection of yourself. I think we see that crazy inner child that comes out.
And that is what keeps us going, no? This aliveness, right? This raw, we have a strong connection to, these desires that we had as children. And
100%.
We definitely connect on that point.
And I just feel like being in Dubai for 11 years, there's so much of that word of women empowerment going around. However, I genuinely don't feel that women really empower each other. They just talk about this, but they maybe don't even know how to empower each other. But since you came here, and I really love that everything we speak about, you really take it on board, and next minute you're flying, and nothing makes me more proud. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, I try to be a woman of my words. And I do like to hold myself accountable by sharing, actually. And that's always been a way forward for me, to be vulnerable, to share, and then be like, damn, I need to do this now. And you get on it. And so I think we're both visionaries in that aspect. And you hold yourself very accountable to the things that you say to yourself and to others as well. So I want to just go back to, you moved here 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And you moved here for sort of like a corporate endeavor, right? What was it that you were?
So my life is it's quite crazy. I've lived in 4 continents, and born and raised in Australia to Turkish parents. And it was quite crazy because I was the only girl until my sister came 12 years later. And my cousins, my brothers, they were all men. So I was a little
is so
tomboy.
funny. Can we just pause? I didn't know this about you.
Yeah.
My brother, I only have men around me. All my just male cousins. And then my brother as well, another male, comes 11 years later.
Oh, wow.
So it's always been men. And you're we're cancers.
Yeah.
And it's
literally
just
one day apart, right?
Literally, it's too many similarities going on. Yeah.
So you can imagine, like my father went to Turkey when he was like 19 or so, fell in love with my mother, who knew no English. My father barely spoke any Turkish, fell in love. Mom was like, I think 17, and she married for love, went to Australia, and I grew up in a very contained, very Turkish family in Australia. So it was my dad was very disciplined. I had curfews to be at, I was 24 working in a managerial role, and my dad had curfews. They had to be home at 10 p.m. You know, it was very hard because like the boys got to do what they wanted. And you know, my father's quite a inspiration of mine because he was an Australian wrestler for the Olympics.
Wow.
He used to race for Porsche. So my dad was quite a cool man, you know.
Wow. But he kept his daughter close to him.
Yeah. I was really daddy's girl growing up. And I feel like growing up, I had a lot of like anger in being a woman.
Right.
Because we weren't allowed to do certain things. Of course, when you're younger, you don't really understand things, but you just feel like you just feel it's unfair. Why does my brother get to do it and I can't? Why do they get to do it and I can't? And, you know, as much as I was named after my grandmother, so my Turkish name is Gülşen, and my late grandmother, who my father lost to cancer at a very young age. And that's why he tried to protect me so much, because he felt guilty most of his life that he couldn't provide for my grandmother the way he wanted to.
Yeah.
And then he put me in this golden cage. And Dad was a serial entrepreneur. He was the first Turkish born and first generation to be a millionaire at the age of 30. So
In Australia?
In Australia,
Wow.
in Melbourne. Yeah. So he was very hardworking, and I've experienced my father go in bankruptcy like more than 2 times, 3 times, and recover and get back on his feet. Yeah. So I grew up in a way where I as a child, I know that you can go from nothing to everything if you just don't give up.
Wow. I'm having goosebumps all over. And because you really had to grow up in an environment that taught you things subconsciously that makes you today realize, oh my God, this is coming from that. This is because, you know, as we get older, we get awareness about our patterns and why we are the way we are. And normally they come from what we've seen as a child. It's not what our parents told us, it's what they also went through, how they dealt with their lives that we get to be witnesses of. So you witnessed your dad go through all this resilience, fall, get back up, and all of that. And also in a mix of keeping you in this protective, you know, and I think that is the reason why maybe you rebelled a bit and you are this free.
I rebelled a lot.
Oh, she rebelled a lot. That's another episode. But that is literally, you know, and I'm happy that you had that liberation. And we shouldn't, rebelling has a negative connotation, but it can do so much for us.
It's made me who I am.
It made you who you are, and it's made you, you know, go into fields which you are now working in, which is, you know, connectivity within the wellness and the healing space, and which is exactly what the world needs. Like, you are a visionary of change for the better. So I don't know in what business your dad was, but I feel like that rebel, you know, rebel side of you has made you, you know, actually think not beyond yourself. Like, you're thinking you think that I can help everyone if they need it.
And this is exactly what my dad used to say about my grandmother. He said that she had such a big vision. She wanted to help the poor. She wanted to do so much. But my grandfather was very, very like old school Turkish, you know, disciplined, and didn't allow her to just do anything. He was very jealous. And then my dad tried to protect me, and I still rebelled against that. I didn't want the fancy houses, the cars, you know, the Chanel bags. It felt good, but it was like, no, my soul was meant to do more. I just couldn't understand what then, but this voice inside me was always like, no, you're too big for Australia, and Australia's huge. It's a continent. But it's just like, it was just so far away from the world. And I rebelled in the sense that my dad wanted me to focus on my studies and university, but I started working at 17.
Right.
He didn't speak to me for like so long, saying, everybody's talking and gossiping, saying, why is,
Rosa out there
working? Does, what's happening to the business? I'm like, Dad, it's got nothing to do with that. I want to earn my own money. I want to, just do things on my own, buy my own things. And, this was rebellious, in our
your
world,
frame.
Coming from a mother and, being the first woman to break the ancestral pattern of women being housewives.
Suppressed and housewives.
And I say this with shame now, but when I was young, I was embarrassed of my mum.
Yeah.
Because she wore the hijab and she wasn't cool. And I went to school and my friends had mums that would go to the beach and wear bikinis. And my mum would say, don't wear this, it's haram, and don't do this.
And just for reference, like we're talking about Australia now. We're not talking about, Dubai, where that's, or anywhere else.
Exactly.
It's a part of the world where, it's not the cool to have a hijab. Everybody who's in Sweden as well, I have multiple friends who wore it or had parents who wore it, and it's the same story. It's like,
so I grew up with that. So I grew up like, it's I laugh at myself now, but I grew up asking God why I was born a woman.
Right.
Like,
you felt like it was a curse.
I was just like, it's not fair. Like, I want to be free.
Yeah.
And I want to do so much, and I feel limited because I'm just a woman.
Right.
And obviously later on I got married young because that was the right thing to do, because I thought that was going to get me freedom. But it was an abusive relationship. And then, my father was the type of man, when you get married, you can travel with your husband. When you get married, you can do that with your husband.
Now you can do what you want.
Yeah.
So that must have created a lot of resentment.
Yeah, it did. It did. And literally it was to a point where I threw the ring before the wedding, and my grandfather and all the men in the family forced me to apologize and get back with him. And to me that was like, okay, I have no escape. I have to get married. I don't have a choice. And I look back at the younger version of me and I'm like, wow, like, she really felt like that was her world, and she just had to listen to her elders, And I remember getting married and thinking, this is my life. And luckily, like, when my father found out what was happening to me, he was the one to pull the plug again. So he was the one.
He actually came for your back.
Yeah, like he realized I didn't raise you to be treated like this by a man. And it was him that said, you're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm getting emotional.
No, I'm getting emotional too.
But it all started there. And I remember my boss at the time was telling me, I was 24 and my boss was 44. And she said to me, Rosa, I know that you want to do good for the world, and they used to joke. I used to work for Myers, and they said, oh, you're going to be the next CEO of Myer one day. She said, I know.
Yeah, so to just like understand the grasp of like, what you were working with. Like you were working at Myers, which is one of the, it's like the leading...
largest department store chains in Australia.
And you were killing it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a little napkin situation.
Oh, God.
This is great because these are the sort of stories that resonates with people. People think that rebellion is like going out there and, drinking your sorrows away, but it can take so many shapes. Many shapes. And so you were obviously, everybody could look at your papers and be like, wow, she's so, at this point.
Yeah.
Wow, what a inspiring, empowering woman, high up in Myers, and she's married, and the life and
Yeah.
you know, all the things, beautiful families. It comes from a successful
Yeah.
family, but underneath there's like so much going on. Your soul was trapped in a cage.
It was trapped, and I was so numb, and I was just literally rocking up to work, and I was a workaholic. And it was my boss that pulled me to the side and told me, look, you are an asset to this company, and I love your dedication and how hard you work. And but I want to tell you some advice. You're only 24. And I wish somebody gave me this advice. And I've spoken to HR. We're willing to give you 1 year leave. Like you can come back in a month, in 3 months, you know, like a sabbatical. You're an asset to this company. Just let me know. It's just, she said, nobody's ever offered this to me. And all I've done my whole life is worked, and I'm 44. I don't go out there, travel, get lost, find yourself, get lost again.
Wow.
And
That's
she
the
said,
boss
"You've
we
got
all
no-"
need.
Yeah, and then she's like, you know, I just wish somebody gave me this advice.
That's a very not egotistical thing to do, because she knew in that moment that I might lose her, but I will maybe save her.
She's incredible. So I took that opportunity, and the first thing, I was obsessed with National Geographic and Discovery Channel, and I grew up with like breeding pigeons and racing pigeons, and I'm obsessed with animals.
Like, side note, this woman and the work that she does, that's actually one of my, how people treat animals, that's one of my first indicators of if that person is somebody I want to keep close in my life. Honestly, like how they treat animals is a great indicator if you want to know whether
for sure.
the values of somebody. And yeah, Rosa literally here heals animals on the daily. Animals just find her, and she's literally feeding them and growing them, and then off you go, my child. It's incredible.
I just saved a little baby pigeon.
Yes.
You know, it was actually after I came from soul sessions.
Yeah.
It was on the side of the road, and poor thing had a rope tied around its legs, and
What?
it must have gotten tangled.
Oh, tangled, yeah.
And then it had like it must have fell on its chest, so it was bleeding, and I thought it was gonna die, but I've took it in, and she's now
Yes,
like,
I'm getting videos like
Did
being
you see?
fed
Oh,
with
so
the little
cute.
needle. Like, oh my
yeah,
god,
it's
so
adorable.
and literally sitting in a branch in one of your plants at home now. Like, it doesn't want to leave. The pigeon doesn't want to leave. This is a home for me.
Oh god.
But getting back to, you know, your work, and you were saying that you took this year off. And what happened? How did that?
So I went to my parents, and that was the most daunting thing to do then, to tell them, listen, like,
My boss doesn't want me because they think I'm...
she doesn't want me to get burnt out, so she's giving me a year off work. And I told them, Dad, Mom, you tried to protect me, and you know what happened because my dad has we have quite a big family house, and I was building and had investments. And my dad was like, while you finish your home, stay with us. So my husband, my ex-husband then, and I was staying at this house that's separate. But then I told my parents, like, whatever happened in this house, and you still couldn't protect me. So whatever I need to go through in life, I need to go through on my own. Right? So I want to take this opportunity to just travel.
But that is, guys, like this is one of the most compassionate things I've heard, because what you did there, you choose to recognize him. Like, you didn't just say to him, you did this to me, you did that to me, you actually recognize what is he trying to achieve, what is he trying to do, you know, and that's what all parents do. They actually rarely that they're not doing their best. Like, they're literally mostly just trying to do their best with the set of instruments or with the patterns or whatever they have, whatever luggage, baggage they come with, they do the best they can with that. But the only way for them to recognize, like, what's actually happening is for us to recognize them and say, I see what you're trying to achieve here. But even... you know, in your own house, you couldn't protect me, so I will be fine. You know?
And like, I'm so blessed. Like, I come from like so much love
Yeah, exactly.
Like my family, if you meet my grandparents, my extended family, there's just so much love and respect in our family that like uh, at times I felt like that love was even too much for me, and I used to feel like, oh, it's just too much for me. But like now I'm just like, wow, I'm so grateful that I grew up with so much love,
Yes.
you know, and I didn't know how to hold that much love then, but I grew up with it to understand how to hold the love of the world, or to be able to create something that can be of love to so many people, and how important love is. You know, love is something that you cannot hold, you cannot justify the love, you know.
That's such a beautiful thing to recognize as well. I think a lot of people confuse, love and potentially like how we're being treated or what people are projecting onto us, because just because they're projecting their, past and whatnot, it doesn't mean that they don't love us. So I think it's so morally high of you to recognize, instead of being like, like I said, they did this to me, they actually loved you, and you come from such a compassionate family. It was their way of, showing their highest form of love to you and respect and all of these great values that you clearly embody, that didn't come from nowhere. It came from your family.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just needed to free yourself from, the generational patterns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was my journey, and then off I was
Off
to
you were.
Africa.
1 year. Africa first.
Yeah, actually, I came to Dubai. Dubai was my stopover. The first city I landed on my own. Never traveled ever anywhere on my own at the age of 24.
Wow.
And I came to Dubai, and it was so interesting because we have such a big family, and you're always trying to do what pleases the family. A weekend, you have your auntie's barbecue house, and you have this cousin's birthday. And it was the first time I was like, what do I want to do? What does Rosa want to do?
Imagine.
And I remember I went to Atlantis, and I swam with the dolphins, and then I went into Burj Khalifa, and it was just so interesting to feeling of just traveling, doing something on your own, or eating where you want to eat, not where your dad chose, or your colleagues, or it was just really interesting to go through that journey.
You learn, in a month you learn what you learn in 10 years when that big shock happens.
And I was so naive. I remember landing into Johannesburg. That was my first city.
Oh my God, guys, what is wrong with you? Like, you go to like one of the most dangerous cities in the world. The first thing you do.
I'm like, the most immersive person ever. Like, I'm like there or there.
No,
there's no in between with me. I do a 10-day water fast.
She literally is still in a 10-day water fast.
And it's like, I just love extremes. Like,
I mean, I'm the same, to be honest. Like, I just didn't have the opportunity to go.
I believe that's like a trait that entrepreneurs have.
Yeah.
Because it almost excites you. Like, this is crazy obsession of how it excites you, you know, these feelings of what you can do, the potential of what it could be. And that is just like, woo.
Yeah. I think the imagination is just quite, we have good imagination of also like solving things, risk analysis, all of these things. So I do think that you also were smart enough to make, take risks off of calculated risks, basically. Because that's what makes a good entrepreneur, right? Is to make calculated risks.
Yeah.
But also dare to take the risk, to be like, okay, well, there's a small risk. This might go wrong, but I'm willing to take it because of what it might potentially bring me.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you a funny story. I landed into Johannesburg, and there was a lovely gentleman that was sitting next to me he's South African.
Yeah.
And he's a cyclist. Like, he does cycling. And he was just telling me, like, just be careful, giving me like brotherly tips. And I landed to the airport, and you know how you have marhaba services here in Emirates, and
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
they
yeah.
get your luggage, and so like there was these lovely guys there, like, oh, helping with my luggage, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, how sweet.
Great, yeah.
And then they were walking in front of me a little bit, and then that gentleman that was sitting next to me on the plane was like, Rosa, no. And I looked back, and then the guy starts running off with my
With your
suitcase.
luggage. Oh my God. Oh my
And I was
God.
like, and he starts running. And at some point, the guy, the security, and he just ran out of the door, left my suitcase.
Oh my God.
And I was like, Rosa, this is not Australia. You cannot do this.
Well, you know, sometimes it needs to be blown up in our face to have that quick realization
yeah.
and wake up, you know.
So that was
remove
my first experience in Johannesburg.
Great. You knew it set the tone, right? You knew how to continue from there on. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to be a little bit more careful than I am back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
you
just-
never let fear take you over. This is such a common denominator of people that come to this podcast, is that fear is the mind killer.
Yeah.
And you maybe were trapped in fear, but as soon as you got that liberation,
Yeah.
and I mean, we keep liberating us from for ourselves from real. That is sort of, I feel like, the path to impact is to constantly revisit. Okay, what am I afraid of here? And you know, and then liberate ourselves from
Yeah,
that
100%.
from that fear.
And I love that you're bringing this up, because I feel fear is the one word that disconnects us from our true potential.
Fully.
And in anything, so like you've got a corporate job and you're earning great salary, you know, but you're not happy.
Yeah.
People treat you like crap, you're not respected, but you're relying on that salary. The fear of, if I don't have this salary, I'm not going to be able to survive.
Yeah.
Right? Is what's maybe that's the limiting thought.
But that's blocking you also
exactly.
from all the opportunities
Yes,
that
because
exists.
The moment you leave something that's not serving you,
Yeah.
and then you start filling your own like soul out, and you feel like with things you love, you start vibrating at a high frequency. Then that attracts better opportunities that are aligned with you.
Boom.
But that fear keeps you in the low frequency, and you constantly, the fear is the low frequency itself. So you're just stuck in this, you know,
It's a loop.
The loop.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like every time something in my gut is twisting, I'm like, oof, oof.
Tell me more.
I need to go deeper here. I
Yes.
need to, you know, whether it's jumping off a plane, whether it's honestly like I've you know, growing up with a father like mine, I was Australian girls football team. I was in the under 16 Olympic squad team, like
You were
for
tough.
swimming.
That's what you're trying to say.
It's like I didn't have a choice. Like I had a father that
Wrestler.
if I came second, he was like, "Why? Why did you come
Run
second?"
tracks.
Like it was nothing. Nothing was ever good enough for my dad. Right? I grew up with that kind of
That's
father.
intense.
So you know, I'm really hard on myself.
Yeah.
Really hard on myself.
Yeah.
I never was able to see like the credits that, you know, for the work I was doing. Like I'd get a bonus at work, but I'd be like, okay, but if I had done this, it would have probably
even
been better.
Oh my God, I'm
So
the same.
it was never like, okay, just acknowledge that he did something well. And
This is what we have to learn in our adult years by ourselves.
I learned the hard way, girl.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. But like coming to Dubai so I did Africa,
We
and
do
then I traveled.
Africa, you know, we grow all
It was
the experiences.
life-changing experience for
Yeah.
me, specifically in Malawi.
What's in Malawi?
So Malawi is the poorest country in Africa, and it's bordered by Botswana and Tanzania, and they've got the Malawi Lake, which is like an ocean. It's beautiful, but the people of Malawi, like, oh, wow, like.
Is this where you have your school?
Yeah, so I went to Malawi in 2012, and I fell in love with the people. I volunteered teaching there, and remember, like, I'm coming from an abusive relationship, and in Australia, where children don't even give you face value, right? And they don't care. Here, the children would they would look at your nails. Like I would have nail polish. Like, wow, they would look at your eyes like,
Wow.
They will look at every little mimic of your mouth. They were so hungry and eager to learn. And like I say this with like all of my heart and love, that Malawi was the first place in my life I was seen. Like I
Wow,
was seen
you're gonna make me.
by these little innocent children that were so hungry for just my time and my presence, and
Yeah.
and
They healed you.
that it was just so magical. I remember sitting one day.
We're such like we're gonna be the best moms because we.
Oh my God, 2 cancers. But like I remember sitting one day and I was like, geez, like I'm in Australia. I had everything my parents could give me, and I was unhappy. And these children have nothing. And I remember like one day I gave out pencils to all the children at the school, like, and they were so happy. At one moment they were laughing, singing, and next minute it was like a war scene. One kid was pulling the hair of the other child to steal his pencils from them, and then another. And I was looking and I'm like, oh my God, like I thought I was doing something good by giving, but I just created chaos. And I started screaming and I was like, no, give me the pencils
Give me
back.
back. I'm taking it back.
And I remember I went to the principal, like, I mean, you know, a chief of the and I said to him, look, I'm so sorry, like, oh, I'm so sorry I created this, but I think it's best I give you these and you reward
Distribute.
them. And he said something to me that really was like, you know what, Rosa, like this is the thing about you people, like, but in a very nice way. He's like, you think by giving you're doing something good, but it actually is not solving the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and it's education, it's teaching them, making sure that they know what they need to earn to get those things in life, right? When a lot of people come, they just give. That's actually not really good conditioning, because that's when they then subconsciously start to think they need to be beggars to be able to receive something, right? But education...
Animals work in the same way. Like you can't, for example, if you have animals in the wild ocean, let's say, like I encountered a turtle multiple times, you know, and I was told, don't feed the turtle because it's going to get out of its natural flow. It's going to become dependent on you feeding him constantly. And that's the same when it comes to, you know, kids in a sense. You can't just, you know, be giving. They're going to expect that.
Yeah.
And so the presence and education
exactly
is what is the offering that we should. Priceless.
So I remember I loved being there. I remember one moment I was like, oh, I just want to volunteer teaching for my rest of my life, and I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
And it was him who said to me, Rosa, like I've never said this to anyone, and I'm not one to tell you what to do with your life.
Wow, you get these archangels coming through, girl.
And he said to me, you know, like we have plenty of teachers that come and they volunteered their years, and I haven't said anything, but I see something else in you. I see you someone that can come back and do a bigger change.
Yeah.
And a bigger impact. And I was like, oh my God, that's been my dream. Like, you know, I want to build schools and orphanages and And it's like, exactly. So if you're going to come back to Malawi,
you better come back.
You got to come back to build a school. And I said to him, I promise you, I will come back and I will build a school in Malawi. Aww. And in my mind then, my ego, and it's like, I'm going to be this boss babe, billionaire, Forbes, you know, businesswoman, millions of schools. And, you know, but in that moment, my intention was so pure. I was so assertive. I will come and I will build a school here. And I put that out there.
That's something that's very magical. I don't know if that's a female trait or something, but it's almost as if you align your intuition, like you actually have knowing of what is to come.
Yeah.
So the vision that you get and the alignment with the intuition, it just makes you like fully surrender and know that, oh yeah, I will. Like.
Yeah. And then like I traveled I traveled to multiple other countries. I actually had to go back to my cousin's wedding in Turkey, and then I was planning to come back. But then when he told me, oh no, I'm going to come back to build a school, so I'm going to come back when that's ready. But it's like I got a really good job offer in Istanbul, and that was my opportunity to connect to my roots. And I fell in love with Istanbul. And I mean, my parents, my mom's family's in Izmir and originally from Izmir in Turkey. But Istanbul had this beautiful, ancient wisdom of the city that has a heartbeat, right? And it's just so beautiful and energetic. And I loved my year. I was there for a year and a half. And then I got headhunted to come to Dubai for a consulting job.
Oh.
So it's full circle moment to come back to Dubai. And in that moment, I said to myself, look, I want to do bigger things in the world. And Turkey's been great for me, but the opportunities are all in Dubai. Dubai has visionary leaders like Sheikh Mohammed. You look what he's done. So like if you have a leader that can walk the talk and is the example themselves for creating such change, what better place in the world to be an entrepreneur?
Exactly.
Right?
They're empowering you.
They are empowering,
I
and
felt
there's nowhere else in
fear
the world.
to be an entrepreneur anywhere else in the world, but here I'm like fully empowered to be one.
So I was like, you know what? I came to Dubai, and I was in consulting for a while. I worked with government, and I did multiple in Saudi Arabia. And my background was more so like merchandise planning and strategy, business strategy in the retail field. And then I had the opportunity to get recruited by Altair Group, which was an incredible experience for me. I was heading the retail side of merchandise planning for the entire group for beauty division. So that was the other.
Did you feel like you were getting into old patterns here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, this is where, we get back to relearning our lessons.
Exactly.
And for you, it came in quite heavily, I would say.
It was back to corporate, back to, managing, working with brands like Dior and Chanel and L'Oreal Group and Estee Lauder and Puig and Coty. And
in corporate, they really use the opportunity when there is a person with a very hungry personality, as you and myself, and they unfortunately take advantage of that. Not necessarily consciously, but they see the hunger in you, so they give you more, and they give you more, and they give you more. Not really being aware of the damage that it can make, because in a sense it feeds our ego, but it doesn't feed our...
It fed my ego, getting...
Because you get recognition, you get everything. All the group effect, of people looking at you and being like...
And as a woman, it's every woman's most dream job to work with brands like Dior and Chanel and receiving gifts or pre-launch products for you to try, because you need to decide on how much money to buy for the group.
Yeah.
Woof. Right? So you're getting VIP invites at all of these launches and crazy events in Dubai. So, it's an ego boost. And, and as much as and for me, I didn't know what stopping was then. So for me, I was a workaholic, and stopping then was what made me anxious. Interestingly, it was what made me...
I recognize this so much.
Right? It was like, oh no, I should be doing more.
Yeah.
And
like waking up one day because obviously I recognized also many times that, oh shit, I'm working too much. I'm doing way too much. I need to take a day off. And as soon as I take a day off, I couldn't be bothered taking another day off, because the anxiety I would feel of taking a break.
Yeah. It was too much.
Too much to handle.
Yeah.
And that is obviously, for anybody out there, a big warning bell. And
please seek medical help, guys.
Yes.
Please.
Before somebody puts you in a psych ward. No, I'm joking. No, but truly, it's being overworked and not being able to have downtime. And it was not I was having fun in what I'm doing. I've always had so much fun, but that's the catch.
Yes, that is the dangerous part.
That's the dangerous part. When you have a phenomenal job, it's all great and all fun, but it's literally when you have so much commitments to stand in, constantly be running around. You can have the most dreamy job you could ever imagine. It is the commitment
Exactly.
that breaks you. We women especially, like, we need rest, like, to just
Yeah.
be.
And imagine I had 232 brands under me then. Bloomingdale's, Harvard Nichols, all the freestanding stores, and launching Nisnas app that they shut down. And then Unas. I launched all the beauty retail products on Unas app as well. And I was just like, how did I do all of that? It was insane. I had an incredible team. But my soul was empty. Like, and I just did not know what it meant. Like, I remember telling my mom I'm not happy. And she would say to me, oh my God, you're not grateful. You should pray to Allah. You know, what is this? You know, you have, Altair had given me Jaguar or Maserati Range Rover, part of my package. I had an allowance. I had all of this. She was like, you have this amazing job and you're still not happy. You should pray to God more. And I was just like, Mom, and I felt guilty for feeling that way. Like, I felt embarrassed. Like, okay, God, like, why am I feeling this way? Like, I should be grateful. But why? And I remember that the one thing that disconnected me from all of that was riding a horse.
Yes, and this is a big part of your whole journey. I mean, I really want to take the rest of this conversation, because we could, me and Rosa, we could go fly off for hours here, but we don't have hours. And I really want to dig deep into the healing powers of a horse, of animals generally. I want this to be a red thread of this conversation, of how just incredibly powerful animals are, and can, like, the wisdom that they can keep for our lives. So take us through,
God,
the whole.
let me tell you my life-changing experience. So I used to ride this one horse, and every time I had the chance on a weekend or second weekend, whenever I wasn't so busy and this horse, every time I greeted him, he was always so happy. And he would, like horses, when they nuzzle you, they like put their head and they rub you. And he would do that to me in my stomach, and specifically the left side of my stomach. And it was almost like his eyes would glisten and he would look through me. And the groom would say to me, oh, he does that with only you. And I used to be like, oh my God, really? I'm special, And it was riding a horse, like, but it's this feeling for me of unconditional freedom, love, and this feeling of oneness, like Avatar, like, I see, like, and for me, it was like the horse had its own mind, and the feeling of when you're cantering and the wind in your hair and your face and their breath and your breath, and it's in the sand, in the dunes, and watching the wind and the sand dance in the sand dunes. That was my dance.
This is why I'm starting. This is why I also got on a horse lately.
That was like my moment where I didn't look at emails, and the horse has its mind as well. So you need to be prepared. Like, nope, he wants to go there, or he gets scared from a camel. So you need to be with your horse.
Yes.
Right? But then I was...
Ultimate presence.
But even then I was not a good rider. I was not very intuitive. Like, I used to just love the thrill of the going fast on a horse, and the control again. Like, yes, I love the feeling, but there was something deeper there that I had to explore, and I didn't know then what it was. And then I suffered insomnia, anxiety, and it was getting really bad. And I went for tests, and 3 months later, I was diagnosed with a tumor in that exact spot. And
as crazy as this might sound, and animals just are so wildly intuitive, guys, and we need to give them more space within the whole healing environment, like, because this is not just Rosa's stories. This is story of a million people, but these stories are left in the dark of actually animals knowing something we don't know. And so tell us more about what happened when you discovered that you had a...
So, like, as you can imagine, like, I'm in Dubai and none of my family is with me. My mom had a hysterectomy in her 30s. My grandma passed away from cancer. My grandmother I was named after.
Full panic mode.
My auntie also passed away from cancer. And my cousin, second cousin, was battling third degree ovarian cancer at that same time. So I didn't tell my parents.
Yeah,
I didn't tell
you don't
anyone.
want to because love.
You know, and I think the one thing about me is I love being the light, and I love bringing that energy and that lightness into people's life. And I didn't want to burden anyone with my problem or my darkness or my shadow or my,
Same here.
you know, and I think it's a cancer thing.
Oh my God. And then we cry by ourselves. Like oh my God.
So for me, it was like I went into this very dark hole.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. I went to a few doctors here, and they start you off in the worst case scenario. And then I flew to Turkey. I wanted to get different opinions there. And I met this beautiful doctor, and she said to me, it was really interesting. She had more of a holistic approach, and she was a professor. And she said to me, do you meditate? And I said, no, like I'm very analytical, I can't. And she said, but that's in your mind, this is why you need to. She said, have you ever spoken to your body and spoken to your organs? And I started laughing. I was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean? My life happens here. This is where my life is going on.
What do you mean? Like speak, literally speak, like, hello, hey, what's good? What's happening? And she's like, you must live a very stressful life. And I said, no, I don't live a stressful life. Like I love being on the go. She said, but that's the mind.
Yeah.
See, clearly there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
That this is trying to show you something.
Exactly. That's why it's manifesting, because you have no connection.
Yeah. And then she said to me, like, I understand, like, family historically, there's all of these patterns, and yes, we should take this seriously. However, you're still young, and my way of approaching this is, what life changes can you make while we do all the precautions in between? And she said, can you leave your job? And I was like, well, what do you mean? She said, what are the things that you love doing that makes you happy, that brings out your inner child and you feel young and vibrant? And I said, oh, horses. She said, what's the worst that can happen if you spend time with horses for 1 year and you quit your job? And I was like, if I'm going to die in a year's time.
That's how I would like to,
I have nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I want to spend it with horses.
You know what the crazy
that's
thing
such
is?
a great perspective.
The crazy thing is, the one thing we all know in life is that we're going to die.
Yeah. The only constant is that we're going to die.
That's it.
Yeah. And change is also the only constant. That we're everything's constantly changing, but the only constant is that we're going to
But the funny thing is, we live life like we're going to live forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we know we're going to die someday.
Yeah.
But the moment that you're confronted with an illness where you're like, my time may be limited, then you start to see things from a very different perspective.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a shield just comes over and you start seeing things very differently. And you're like, why was I working so hard?
Well, this is what you're just saying. Why?
Yeah.
The question of why starts coming. And it becomes almost obsessive.
Oh, like it was obsessive.
It's like, why? Okay, but why? And that becomes the drive, ultimately.
Why?
That is what leads us to
who am I?
Yeah.
What is my purpose?
We need to
What
ask.
if I die? I came here to live the human experience. And what have I done for humanity? I was just like, what have I really done? I've made rich people rich. I've, these brands richer. And what have I really done for humanity? And it was crazy because at the same time, around the same time, I was responsible for an Altair for the corporate social responsibility CSR projects for my division.
Yeah.
And with the money and incentives that we strategized and we created, we decided to partner with Dubai Cares and to do a humanitarian project. And Dubai Cares decided that they wanted to build a school because they built a school in Nepal and they wanted to build another school. And then they partnered with a company called Build On that builds sustainable schools. Now, sustainable schools are built how? If me and you had money and we went to Africa and we built a school.
That would be a sustainable school.
No.
No?
Because why? 1 month later, that school disappeared because people who don't have homes will take the bricks and take everything, right? But what Build On do is they get like certain villages, they have to sign a petition. All of the mums, the dads, the whoever wants a school for their kids, they sign a petition. Then they train people in that area, basic plumbing, like basic electrical, basic X, Y, and Z. And then the sponsor comes in and with the money, and the whole village gets involved in building the school.
Wow.
Right? I'm going to hold you here. Guess what happened? So I told Build On, and we had a meeting. I said I'm very much involved. So they had a petition signed from all the way from, this is 2018 in Althaya. They had petition signed from 2012. And that came to life in 2018. And of all the thousands of petitions that came through, guess which one manifested for us?
The one. Which one?
Lilongwe, Malawi.
Like, oh my God, what?
Yeah, like I was like, I remember like, what? And I remember just crying. And they were like, what's
happening here?
What's going on here?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I made a promise to build a school there. And what? Like, and the petition, 2012, was the year that I was in Africa.
Yeah.
And I remember I did like this presentation to Khaled, a lovely CEO at Althaya at that time. And
you're like, I need to run this.
I need to be, I was like, no, I need to be there.
Yeah.
As the Althaya representative.
Yeah.
So they allowed me to be the person to go. I went there.
And this is while you're still going through your, research regarding your sickness and...
Yeah, so I'll tell you. So like, yeah, so by the way, I left the contraceptive pill. I was on my doctor was like, anything unnatural,
you need to drop
it. I was on it for more than 10 years just to monitor it. They did a biopsy to see what stage it was. And in between, this Africa thing happened.
Yeah.
So then I went and to Africa, to Malawi, and I remember like with a shovel,
officially
starting, and we were carrying water on our heads, and the singing with the ladies, and laying the bricks, and the kids, and dancing, and it was like the first time I felt joy in my life again.
Fully being of service.
Yeah, being
and
service.
Feeling that things actually align, even though you have this hazardous thing happening to you in your life. You realize my life is bigger than me.
Exactly.
And I just want to come back to, you dealing with, obviously you building a school that's still running, it's still going on in Malawi, right? We still have it operational there, and it's a place that you keep visiting and you keep going back to. But I just want to take us back to your process with finding out that, the tumor that you had wasn't growing into being cancerous tumor, and you actually managed to leave it at bay. It actually even retreated, if I remember correctly.
So that journey was really interesting because after Malawi, I came back to Althaya and I realized that was my purpose there, and I quit. It was just perfect timing. Like that's why I had to be there.
Yeah. Exactly.
It doesn't matter how you manifest.
Exactly.
When you put something out there into the universe and you have it with pure intentions, there's so many roads to Rome, right? I was part of building this school.
Yes.
So that was
all along. I mean, being in this working for Chanel, Dior, all of that, it was happening in the background for you to come back with great investment to actually make a sustainable school, not just a school, but something that's real.
So then, answering your question,
yes,
I quit my job, and that's when I was went into healing myself mode.
Yeah.
And luckily, the biopsy came benign, which was amazing news. But obviously the doctors said that it was like 4 centimeters then, and it was in a very risky area. And they said it can turn, and still let's monitor it. But let's do the eating healthier, exercising, meditating. And that's when I started to get obsessed with anything wellness.
Yeah.
Like
Wellness,
breath work, ice baths, like you name it, anything, like meditating, Reiki, like the esoteric things I would never believe in. I went and did like a diploma in a horse guided empowerment to understand horses. I started working with horses and people of determination, and I started riding horses every day. I started racing, and it was just like when I started to do what I loved, I got accepted to Sheikh Mohammed. He had like an initiative for women that he was sponsoring women to learn endurance racing on his horses. And I did all of my qualifications with Alasfa. And then I started racing with Sheikh Hamdan in Nas stables. And like, it was just like horses and healing.
And all of the things.
And I literally tell everybody, like, sound healing, everything, you name it. I've done them all. I turned into a healing whore.
Yeah.
Like a healing whore. Like
We've all been there.
We've all been there. But you know, it was an interesting journey because when you are so desperate to get answers, you're also very susceptible and naive, right?
Oh, this is a trap within the wellness space and within the, so I think actually this is where sort of you like, the next evolution, the next step of your journey is born, is that you very quickly realize, I am deeply into this and I almost feel like I've lost sense of, reality, because you get so swarmed by the healing space and wellness space, and you don't even know you can't tell, real from not real. And I think that's where you kind of like start thinking, what is the gap in the market here? How can we actually improve this space to be more genuine? And because these people, healing and wellness, you're huge.
Vulnerable. You're so vulnerable.
You're so vulnerable. Like people have been for a century, since religion started, they've been using this to use people, like to use them when they're at their most vulnerable, when they need help.
It's very dangerous.
It's a super dangerous hole. And we've seen it happen. Everybody has a family member who has, fallen victim to people who use them for their vulnerability.
And I've witnessed so much of this happening, and I was very lucky that my core, which is my family, my belief in, I'm Muslim, and my belief in God, and always kept me grounded. And I think there's so much happening out there that you need to really protect your energy. Like people won't go into bed with someone without trusting them, but when it comes to kundalini activations or Reiki or energy or whatever it is, you give permission to someone that you don't even know to just come and play with your energy,
with your essence.
With your essence. And we all know we're made up of atoms, electrons and neutrons, and we're waving. Like you see your hand now, but if I wave it, what is it? Like we're all energy. And I think this was where I started to realize my true intuition, where I felt like I had all the money to spend because I want to feel better about myself. And when you are healthy, you have 101 problems. But when you're sick, you have only one problem.
It's to get healthy again.
Exactly. And for me, that was my one problem I had. So I wanted to understand it. I wanted to heal it. And I had people telling me, I can fix this chakra and that chakra. And in the beginning, you're just like, yes, just do it. And then you started thinking, but I need to do 10 sessions and it's going to cost you 10K. And you're like, and then you start thinking, it becomes like,
you are literally your own healer.
And that's the path. No one in this world can heal you but yourself.
Exactly.
And it starts with here and here.
Exactly.
Right?
People can be a great support, a great add-on as a toolbox. They can teach you instruments and whatnot. And, and when that foundational trust is built, they can actually help you on that journey. Yeah. But it is you.
Exactly.
Nobody
You
else.
have to take those steps.
And I really, really, really want to get in before we, like it's so important to just highlight how you came into creating an absolutely incredible platform that literally is here to like sort of help you build, almost like, imagine, Airbnb. What does Airbnb do for us? Airbnb helps us to give trust.
Yeah.
Like to the person who takes our money and for us to stay in their home, their intimate space, and Airbnb has become this company that we actually fully trust in because they have this incredible technology and, business idea and plan that for us is like, yeah, okay, you can come, you can let people stay in your home, literally your space, and also you can stay in other people's space. So I see a resemblance here, what you're trying to create with the new, industry that you entered, which is tech.
Yeah, and I'm one of the first users of Airbnb as a host.
Really?
Yeah.
As a host?
Yeah, like I'm talking 14 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love what they've done and their journey, and that's one of my inspirations.
Yes.
And this is literally how Anka was born.
Yes.
It was my journey on how lonely I felt because I couldn't
in the healing journey, in the wellness journey.
And that's how a lot of people feel. They feel lonely. They either don't want to share it with people they love because they don't want to hurt them, or they don't want them to feel bad for them, or they don't know the answers and they don't know who to ask, or it's a trust issue, or it's maybe if I tell them, they're going to think I'm weak and I have a job and I have a family to look after and they need to be strong, right? And it was actually, I remember I did a 1 week retreat in Bali that my best friend gifted to me. And I remember coming out of this retreat and understanding the purpose, my purpose in this life. And one of it was really the woman, the ancestral lineage of the healing we had to do and the patterns. And us women, we cross our legs.
Yeah.
But you look at men, they're like open their legs.
What's good? All safe. That's all fine.
And subconsciously, that's like the root chakra that's like, oh, no, shame. Like, it's hiding something, right? And there was so much, coming from Turkish roots where there was so much famine and, wars, and the women lost their sons, they lost their husbands, their fathers. The woman had to be so strong. And I remember going through this deep breath work and meditation for 1 week, and at the end of it, it was almost like stairs. And the more I went down, it was more uncomfortable. But I realized it wasn't mine anymore. It was ancestral. And at one moment, there was this really uncomfortable moment where there was so much fear. There was so much fear that I almost was getting a panic attack, and my body was starting to shake. And I remember the guru came around and was like, stay there and fight it with love. And I just love, you are love, and fight it with love. And in that moment, I was just like, whatever you are, I love you. 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 And I remember that fear started literally fading. And then all of a sudden, I saw my tumor. And I was able to speak with it. And I was able to see it with love and say thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
And I was like, thank you for coming, one, into my life to show me this world, what I was meant to do. But thank you for saving my grandmothers and great-grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers' lives. Because I said to her, I realized you actually came to end their suffering earlier because they were so strong, but they were so tired. And if you didn't come through, they would have suffered longer. And I thank you for showing up for them.
Oh my God, I'm freaking...
And that moment I was like, but your job is done. Yeah. And now you can go.
Yeah.
your job is done. Now you can go. Your job is done. Now you can. And I love you. I love you. I love you. And I remember coming out of that and I was just like,
What?
whoa, like.
So guys, just to kind of acknowledge also, like Rosa didn't have these sort of experiences,
Never.
5 years before that, or 2 years even before that. Like we said, she was in her head,
Yeah.
fully like immersed in,
I didn't believe in meditation.
exactly.
I was
like we're talking,
analytical.
this is,
Oh, God.
so just to say that
Yeah.
like we all are, capable and we have
100%.
these experiences to profound experience that gives you goosebumps, then it's profound.
And it was in that exact, the last day meditation was when the phoenix came to me in my meditation, and it was all heart-shaped. And it was like, and it was so beautiful because I was afraid of death, remember, because I didn't do enough for the world there. And that moment I was energy and I was in complete darkness, but I felt the unconditional love of God. And I think my biggest fear until then was, what if I have this experience and everything I knew in Islam, or my mom taught me in religion, which, there's only one God and there's one God. And what if I realize that doesn't exist? And then I'm going to go to hell because, you know what I mean? In Islam, if you don't believe there's one Allah, one God, you go to hell. Or if you go against, and there was all of this conditioning there. But then in that moment, when I let go of all of this fear, and I remember my religious teacher at school explained to me a story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how he went up to God's presence with a horse and like figure like Burak. And then when he was there, it was almost like a black curtain. But he felt God's presence and his love. And when I was in that complete darkness for the first time in my life, energetically vibrating in that void, I felt so much love. It was like in me, through me, like hugging me. The amount of unconditional love, I was like, oh my God, if this is death, I don't want to go back.
Like,
now,
don't bring
okay,
back.
I want to stay here. And there's nothing there. There's no cars. There's there's not, it's just a beautiful feeling. And that's when Anka popped up.
Guys, quickly, because this story is not sponsored by Anka, but I want to make it sponsored by Anka.
Oh, God.
No, because truly, I mean, we're going to have another episode on what is the point of this incredible endeavor that Rosa is actually trying to, bring out into the world. And because Anka is something absolutely, truly unique, and it's unique to you most of all. It is something that came through in a death process, I would call it.
It was literally a death process.
It was a death process.
That's what Anka means. It's the phoenix.
It's the phoenix, because we have to go through that. We have to literally, from our essence, let go of parts. It's not just, we think it's ourselves, but it's not ourselves. It's we're shedding things from many pasts.
Exactly.
And why we're doing that? Well, it's because so we can have the space to have the new, what's supposed to be for us, to come into us. And with that said, like, Anka is a whole journey of its own, Rosa, and we need time to go through that, because that is ultimately what we've gone through today is the path to impact. And you've been so impactful within that path as well, because you've been building it all along, and we've heard so many parts of your journey today that is truly, truly impactful in itself. But next part is the resilience story of the actual knowing of what you're trying to achieve and bring out into the world, and all the heartache and pain and everything to actually come to, a point.
And that's what you need to, every leader needs to go through all of the layers and the feelings to truly be that empathetic and compassionate leader if you want to make a true change in the world. Like the path that we're doing. So for me, it was like I had to go through that lonely journey, and I had to get scammed, and I had to go through that. And the people that changed my life, You know, I healed myself, but the gurus, the teachers, the coaches, the healers, the facilitators that grabbed my hand and took me back to myself.
They're the ones
They're-
who created a supported
Yeah.
space for you to actually take your hand
Yeah.
to take you back to yourself.
Exactly. And exactly how I realized my purpose is to create a platform for these amazing people that are not good at marketing. They're not entrepreneurial. They shouldn't be. They just want to help people.
Yes.
And I was like, I have all of this life experience that God has given me. And now I can utilize that to truly serve those that want to serve others.
Exactly.
And there's so much people who need help, but they don't know how to find it.
Exactly.
So that's how it happened.
Yeah. And how can people find out? Like, I'm literally genuinely saying we're having an episode 2 because
Yes.
I really do think that people need to like know what sort of limitations exist within the wellness space.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden people expect us to be, if we are a practitioner or a facilitator of something to help people, we need to be good at everything to even reach out to the
Yeah.
people that need us. But you are creating a space where you're actually making it so easy. You're it's Airbnb
Yeah.
for you know, people who have an offering.
And it's
right?
safe and it's trusted. We
That's-
vet every single person
That's the point.
that's on that platform offering the service.
Yes.
You know, we're really trying to be very delicate and create that governance for people to know that whatever that
Because
happens,
it's
they
a
can trust.
sensitive
Yeah,
space.
definitely.
It's an incredibly sensitive space, especially healing space, and when people are vulnerable. So we're just, everybody is just so grateful for this vision coming through, for you going through your death process, to this even to be coming out to the world. And it's more than just something local. This is a global movement that you're trying to create using tech, using technology.
Tech, that's with a heart.
We love tech.
With a heart.
Big,
Tech with a
big.
heart.
Tech is gonna, it's honestly, if you use it correctly, it's gonna do,
Yeah.
it's gonna elevate us into a new state, this world. So I'm so thankful to have been having you here today, Rosa. We will have you sometime soon again.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to, I'm
Please.
grateful for this opportunity.
Yes.
And thank you so much. And I just want to, anyone that's listening to this, I want you to know that you're not alone. And I was very grateful for this experience that I completely cured my tumor. And shortly after, riding horses, and it was reducing in size, and it completely went away. So whoever's out there, don't lose hope. Have faith. Show up for yourself. Vibrate higher. Whatever that brings you joy. Go back to when you were a child. What made you happy? These small things can change your life.
Oh, gosh. And I just want to ask you to, if you could describe with one word the impact that you're doing, how would you describe it?
Oof. One word. I don't know.
Whatever comes first. There can be anything. What do you feel?
I love
Yes, that's
unconditional
I'm like, I'm
love.
just waiting for you to say love.
Unconditional love. I just feel like love is the one thing that unites everything. You know, love cures broken hearts. Love cures hate. Love cures everything.
Everything.
Love is the source for everything. Yeah.
My love.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you
I
for
can't
having
wait
me.
to do this again really soon.
No.